Hi, everybody. On this page, it's all about how it takes a village to educate a student who has complex needs. You're going to see information about who that village could be. You're going to see information about how this could possibly be a change for you. And if it is, everybody is at a different place and comfort level with change, and that is okay to just be wherever you are. It talks a little bit about a growth mindset, and you definitely need that when you're doing this kind of work. But the most important part of this page will be talking with Kelly Engel, who is with me here today and is one of the most incredible educators I've worked with in my career, because not only of her educational and academic expertise, but the way that she is with kids. Kelly has had an incredibly diverse student population at a Title I school when we worked together, and an incredibly diverse population in terms of disability too. So I'm going to kind of talk with Kelly today about this experience that we both had. God, how long ago was that? 8, 9, 10 years ago? That really actually started me on this journey of trying to do professional development for people around students who have complex needs. So I'm going to ask Kelly a couple of questions to get us started on this page. So hello, Kelly. Thank you for joining us today. Very much appreciated. So first question, tell us a little bit about the student. Like, what were the characteristics?
He came in with very limited verbal skills. He did a lot of screaming to kind of get attention or to kind of figure out what he wanted. He also kind of had some limited behaviors in terms of how to be in the classroom. A lot of just kind of getting up, doing his own thing. And he did have a lot of knowledge that we could see. It was just very hard to kind of pull out that knowledge and get him to be able to show us that he could, do more than it initially appeared.
Yes, I definitely remember that too, with the minimal communication skills. And that as time went on, we realized he does have a lot going on in there, and it's just really complicated to get it out. And that is something that's going to be in this class too, of just knowing that complicating factor can be there. Another thing I remember about him is his processing speed. He had an incredible delay. For new information, he could have a processing delay, it felt like, of up to a minute. And then even with information that he knew really well, he still needed processing time of like 10 seconds or so. So
and I think I was just going to say, I think Mom had mentioned when she first brought him in and we were going through the meeting that he had a little bit of a processing delay. And I don't think any of us really realized how much that would impact or how long it would maybe take for us to like understand what he needed for that delay to be able to give us the information.
Like the real implications of that.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so that was our student. And let's talk a little bit about our journey. And I want to start by saying that when he came, I definitely felt very underprepared. And when he did come, not only did I feel unprepared, but just like I sucked as a teacher. It really impacted the way that I felt as an educator. I felt so ineffective. But that was in August. So that's where I started. And then the journey really evolves from there. But where did you start? How did you feel?
I definitely had a lot of anxiety and overwhelming feelings at the start of it, especially after our initial IEP meeting. I was like, oh, this will probably be okay. It'll be a little work. It won't be too bad. But after like that first week or two in class, my anxiety was by far through the roof. I had no idea if I was doing anything right. I was worried about the other students in class being able to like keep them on track too and keep our student on track. I was definitely very nervous. I felt as well underprepared, and I had no idea how like the team was going to be able to support in the classroom. It was just a drastic change from anything that I had been used to. So we definitely kind of just tried our best and started to roll with it. We had the one para that was in the room ended up kind of just working with him until we could, figure out as a group like what to do next. And it felt like it was just little pieces here and there, but nothing was really succinct when we started working.
I can definitely agree with that.
Yeah, just addressing his behaviors and maybe moving the class out and just figuring out what we needed to do when, he was having a little bit of an episode. And so the beginning was definitely just a lot of overwhelming feelings. We
Yes.
definitely, we realized we needed more help than just the building could offer,
So
just our
what
school
did
could
we do
offer.
next? Okay, so at the building, this whole page is about It Takes a Village. So far
Yes.
at the building, we have you, general education teacher,
Yep.
me, learning specialist, a paraprofessional who's, by the way, in the kindergarten classroom. I'm not sure we've mentioned that yet, but a paraprofessional who's already in the kindergarten classroom. We've got our speech and language pathologist. We've got our mental health provider, our principal, two secretaries in the front office who are also helping us depending on what's what's going on, and another special education para. Okay, so here's our team so far. And you mentioned we're trying to do different things and figure out what works. And then we added another team member who was Cheryl Johnson. And I hope that you're okay, Cheryl, with me giving you a shout out, who joined our team. And she came from Central. Oh, because also part of the team, another person was our special education coordinator. So what are we up to, like 10 people now on our team?
And 11, yeah.
And we added Cheryl, and Cheryl was a godsend. Please tell us about Cheryl.
She came and rescued us.
Yes, she did.
Rescued us from drowning. We said we are trying all these little pieces here and there. And she said, let me show you how to take all these little chunks and kind of put them together and kind of make almost like an umbrella that was able to just kind of help us and kind of cover everything that we needed. She offered a lot of visual support. She offered kind of more steps for that growth mindset to kind of help continue with that. She offered emotional support for us, just to know that it was okay. It was okay to go home and cry at night and then come back the next day and be ready to like try some more approaches and kind of, you know, use the tools. She offered some training on just how to approach a student like this. And a lot of the things that she offered too was just help with that auditory processing, which was something that I personally was not very familiar or knowledgeable with. And with those supports, I think we definitely like aligned our approach. And I think that's when we really started seeing some, you know, success, not just academically, but like behaviorally as well. We were able to really just kind of get everything working that we needed to set up the student for success.
We definitely started firing on all cylinders after Cheryl came. And it was, like you said, it was putting everything together, using all of our tools consistently amongst all of those, because that was a big team. And so making sure that everybody on the team was using the same approach. And then you also made me think of leaning on each other emotionally, because it's teaching is hard. And then you throw on, you know, teaching students who are difficult to teach, it's very taxing emotionally. So definitely leaning on each other emotionally. So then we add another team member. 3 months into it, we get an additional para in your classroom for most of the day.
Yeah, pretty much a one-to-one para for him for I think like 85-90% of the day. She was there almost all day, I believe.
And she was wonderful. And so her and I would co-plan directly, like in person. And then I would co-plan with the rest of the team too during our weekly special education meeting. But then how do we get all of those team members to co-plan when we can't all meet as much as we need to? So we had two things. We had a physical notebook, and then we switched over to Google Docs. And this was when Google Docs were new and exciting. And we were like, oh my gosh, we can all type in it at the same time. And we were about it because then we could put in, this is what happened today. This is what I tried. This is what I need to brainstorm. That's how we communicated. And we all went in there with fidelity. So we all knew what was happening. And the Google Doc really saved us with our communication, but we had to make sure that everybody went in there and actually checked it and updated it every day. But our team did great with that, with making sure that we entered our stuff in there and everybody checking it so that we were on the same page, because that was critical.
I think that communication was key. It made us all have like the systemic tools for working with, you know, our students. So the language that I was using, the visual support that I was using, you guys were using outside of the classroom. The parents were able to get on board and use the same tools at home. So he was kind of seeing what we do at school, we do at home, we carry it back and forth. I think those systemic practices definitely, you know, they seemed simple, but they were very important, especially the visual cues and cutting out some of that verbal, because with part of what we learned with that auditory processing is the more you talk, like the harder it is. And so being able to use some visual support and being able to have everyone understanding the same tools definitely like aligned our approaches and made it far more successful.
I agree. And you made me think of other team members, parents
Yes.
and peers in the classroom. And we also had an occupational therapist. I can't remember if he had a physical. So our team is huge. And to be systemic with a team that big it was tricky, but we made it work. Okay, so what additional tips or information do you have for people who may get students who have complex needs in their classroom?
Stick with it, because it is by far one of the most rewarding teaching experiences. I mean, it's good to see kids that you know can grow and succeed right away doing it. But when you have a student that you can definitely tell is struggling and you're able to actually help them and see them produce work that is presentable, I mean, it's just fabulous knowing that they're being successful too. Using all the tools with Fidelity was a huge help. At first, some of them seemed maybe silly or simple, and I was like, are you kidding me? Like, holding up this card is gonna help. But when you're in the middle of instruction and things are going on and all you have to do is hold up a visual cue to remind people what they need to be doing, it's a huge help. It really is. And it doesn't stop your instruction, because all you need to do is hold it up and that student can see it, they can understand it. And because it's not verbal, they understand it better anyways, and it leads to far more success. The other students also are able to pick up on it, and they actually use the same verbal cues. They'll stop talking, they'll stop doing whatever it is you need to. And I think overall, you know, it's something that helps the classroom, you know, management as a whole. Also having maybe just like genuine feelings. Having that student know you care about them, even though maybe they scream or they're yelling, or sometimes you have to leave the classroom, but they still know you care, and it makes them wanting, you know, makes them willing and wanting to try, you know, that much more, even when they're throwing a fit, to like hold it together the best they can. And I think just having that growth mindset, not being afraid to ask for help, going, oh my gosh, I'm in over my head, I don't know what to do, someone please help me. And the more you ask for help, it really does get better and easier, because more people come and offer stuff, you know, offer advice, offer tools that really do help you.
I love that. And you made me think of more team members. We had the assistive technology team.
That's
who
right.
came and
Yes.
offered to help. So I will say, kind of concluding our journey, by the end of the year, I agree with what you said. I felt more empowered. I am a better educator because of it. I'm able to help other people because of it. The kids benefit because of it. And it really did it changed my career, and for the better. So when you look at the change flow on this page, we started out very feeling unprepared with a lot of anxiety. And by the end of the year being like, yeah, we feel so much better and we reached this it. So I think this was a great interview. I hope that everybody gets out of this the message that we have, that it wasn't easy, but we did it, and it was a huge team, and we all came together and we used our strategies, communicated with Fidelity, and it worked. And it was working.
There were days that sucked and days maybe it didn't work as well, but then there were far more days where it did work, and I think we ended up being more successful through it. And I know to this day, like 8-9 years later, I'm still using some of the same ideas, the same trainings, the same like thought processes to kind of help students, and I'm still seeing growth from the strategies. So it works.
Such a good point. It's such a good point. Oh, sorry, I got a message on my screen. All right, well, thank you, Kelly. Very much appreciated. I will let you get on with your day, and we'll talk soon.
Thank you.